Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today's tutorial is on how to make a balloon sleeve using the slash and spread method and how you can neatly finish off your sleeve with lining. This is very easy to make and it is beginner friendly. If this is what you would like to learn, please watch to the end of this video. And also, if you're seeing my video for the first time or if you're yet to subscribe to my channel, please click on the subscribe button to subscribe now, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. So what you will be needing for this would be your basic short sleeve pattern. So I have mine. I drafted this pattern in the previous video I uploaded, and I'll drop the link in the description box. So I went ahead to replicate this pattern, but I added extra 3.5 inches to the length of the replicated pattern. I'll use the original pattern to cut out my lining pieces. I've cut out the lining for the two sleeves. I'm making two sleeves, so I've cut out the exact thing I have on that first pattern, and on this pattern that I extended would be what I'll use to cut the main fabric, and this is where I would be slashing and spreading to cut the main fabric. So I'm going to measure. The first thing I'll do will be to measure what I have on the sleeve head. I'm going to measure all around to check what I have there, and when I measured, I had 21.5 inches. So I want to slash into 8 places. So I'm going to divide this 21.5 inches by 8. So what I approximated what I had to 2.7. So I'm going to measure from the center line. You can see the line I drew on the center. I'm going to divide the right side into 4 places, measuring 2.7 inches apart. Then I'm going to also measure from the center line. I'm going to measure 2.7 inches to the left side. So that's what I've done. I've divided the sleeve head by 8 by 8. So I'm going to also measure what I have on the sleeve opening, and that's 16 inches. 16 divided by 8 will give me 2 inches. So from the to the left, I'm going to measure 2 inches apart, and to the right, I'm going to measure 2 inches apart, dividing the sleeve opening also into 8 places. So the next thing I'm going to do now will be to draw a straight line connecting the points I have at the sleeve head to the corresponding points I have at the sleeve opening. So you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to connect them, the points at the top to the points at the hem part. So I'm going to connect all these points, and this will be my slash lines. So I'm going to slash starting from the hem part, from the sleeve opening part. I'll slash to the top. I would get very close to the end, but I will not cut through the sleeve head. So you can see I've slashed everything. All that is left now is to spread as much as I want to introduce volume to what I have. So for me to spread, I have placed my fabric, and I'm going to be spreading this slashed pattern on my fabric. My fabric is on fold because I'll be cutting for the two sleeves. So you can introduce as much volume as you want, or as much as your fabric can permit. I don't have enough, so I would be spreading according to what I have on my fabric. So I would be spreading this using 2.25 inches. So I initially tried to spread using 2.5, but I didn't have enough, so I reduced it to 2.25 inches. So I'm going to use a tape or a pin to hold my pattern down on the fabric so it doesn't shift when I'm cutting. So I've held them down, and if you check, I have 2.25 inches apart. Okay, so I've already added my seam allowance to this. If you have not, this is the time you add your seam allowance on your fabric, but I've already added my seam allowance. So I'm going to cut exactly what I have. I'm going to cut what I have, or the way it is. So I'm going to cut. You can see how I am cutting. I'm going to cut exactly what I have, where the pattern is on the fabric. That's how I'm going to trace everything out. Okay, so just remember that for the lining piece, I cut exactly what I have on my pattern, but for this piece that I slashed, I added extra 3 inches to have that bouncy effect since I'm making a balloon sleeve. So I'll go ahead and cut this and show you the next step. So you can see what I have. I have my two sleeves. Like I said, I cut these two sleeves together, so I'm going to remove these slashed pieces to continue working on this. So I notched the center part of my sleeve at the sleeve head and also at the lower parts at the hem area, and I also did the same for the lining pieces. So you can see what I have. And remember that when you cut your sleeve, the front part, the part that will be attached to the front armhole, is deeper than the back part. So you'll be noting that on your fabric so that you don't confuse it. I'll be noting that on the fabric as well as on the lining piece. I would write B for the back to know that this is the back part, and F for the front part that will be attached to the front armhole. I will also do the same thing for my lining piece so that the lining would correspond with the main fabric and I won't get confused. So I'll just pick one sleeve and one lining and start with that. So as you can see, the F indicating that's the part that will be attached to the front armhole, and the B, the part that will be attached to the back armhole. And I did that on both the main fabric and on the lining piece. And now I've placed the lining piece and the main fabric right sides facing each other, and the notched part at the center of the hem part and of the hem part of the lining are meeting on the same point. I'm going to pin that down, and then I would pleat the remaining part. I'm going to pleat everything on the main fabric to fit into the space on the hem part of the lining piece, right sides facing each other. So I've pinned it together. That's how I'm going to run a stitch to hold them together. So I'm noting that this is the back part. Remember that the right sides are facing each other. So after running a stitch to hold these points together, I'm going to fold them this way, folding them, closing in the right side the way I'm demonstrating, and then I'm going to use a straight stitch. I'm going to sew from one end to the other end, just this way I'm demonstrating. So I'll go to my machine and do that and show you what I have. So now I've pleated the hem part of the main fabric to the hem part of the lining piece. You can see what I have, and I also top stitched towards the lining piece, so you can see the stitch I have made. So after this, now I'm going to fold in. The right side is closed, so I've folded my fabric this way. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that at the hem parts they are meeting at the same point, and I'm going to use a stitch to hold them together. I'm going to run a stitch and hold them together. So I've done that as I explained. I've run a stitch to hold them together. I've closed the side seam. This what I did is closing the side seam. So I'm going to then turn it out to the right side, and this will enable the stitches to be hidden, so the seams will not be showing at the back part. So all the seams will be inside. So that's what I have done. Next thing will be to match the seam on the main fabric with the seam on the lining piece so that they align, and then attach the sleeve to the armhole. Okay, because I believe you've made this sleeve for the armhole of a dress or a blouse. So I'm going to do the same to mine. So as you can see, the extra 3 inches I added to the main fabric made it to look bouncy, and the way I turned it with the lining, you can see that the seams are not showing on the back side, so everything is hidden and beautiful. So I'll go ahead and attach this now to the armhole of the dress I've already made. So I made this for a dress. I'll attach that, and at the end of this video I'll be showing you what my sleeves look like on the dress I have made. So thank you guys for watching, and if you have not subscribed to my channel, please click on the subscribe button now, and also don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye bye.